So this morning we couldn't get internet here. We can get internet here, but here is really wet and here is dry. So we lost the chance of having internet by about 8 feet, which is quite frustrating. Anyway, that's the life of travelling. Packing up from base camp. We're up in the mountains. Bit of a damp one last night, Michelle, bit cold. Bit cold, very cold. Very cold. Got a little bit of respite from this stone wall here. But cold and damp, but beautiful. And we're off. Back on the PW or cycle route. We just saw a big group of cyclists go by. I forget the names of the towns. They're all sort of like Piddledown upon Teasdale, Riddledon upon Upton upon Timsdale. I have no idea anymore what they're called. They're all just way too silly for me. But hard to remember. I muddle them all up. So this is the Pennine Way, just here. I don't know if you can see that little road. We're sticking to the road this morning. Michelle and I, we're getting to the end of the section of the Pennine Way that we want to do, where our route meets the Limestone Way. We've probably got to have a stop in a hotel in the next 48 hours to dry out and plan the next route of attack. So we will see. Catch Michelle up. Now I generally don't wear as much. I don't wear the down jacket in the mornings because I get hot too quickly, and I'd rather start a little colder, so I don't get so sweaty and hot. Michelle does. She obviously doesn't sweat as much as me. Find the car. So, a morning of traffic dodging on a fairly quiet road on the B6255. This mountain ahead of us here, it actually is flat topped like Tabletop Mountain. Yesterday we could see it, today there's just a cloud on top of it. It's kind of cool. Another beautiful old viaduct ahead of us. I think this one's for trains, so I think it's a train viaduct. Our route's down there somewhere next to Tabletop Mountain. Well, it certainly is a popular little spot to come and see this viaduct. I wish I knew the name of it. I do not. At the moment, for Michelle and I, it's we've taken a slight detour to see it. I guess we didn't actually detour to see it, but we thought this road looked straighter, and consequently it's actually making it a longer walk than what it would have done once we get over. And we become part of the throng. I'm guessing there's a station up here somewhere that people go to visit. We should not be visiting it. It's a station. Somebody's kindly put their dog poos in a little pile outside their car. Now this fella, can I get a picture? Go on then. What's the bloody story? The story? What the bloody hell are you doing? What's this fella doing? Look.
Just trying to get round this one. Must be halfway now, I think, something like that.
Are you doing the Land's End as well, are you?
No, just in 3 weeks today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Nothing quite that bad.
Carrying what looks to be probably about a 3 kilo log.
3?
Maybe a little more, 5?
Something like that.
Is it wet or?
I don't know, have a go.
Do I want to?
No, okay.
They all want to. Oh no, it's probably it's probably closer to 8, 10?
28.
28 kilos?
Yeah.
Why?
Go on then.
I've done one of these before with it actually, but I thought I'd try and link 3 together.
With your log?
With my log, yeah.
Yeah, it's always
it's too easy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I'll get on anyway.
Okay.
Nice
So,
to
no, is there, you've obviously got something online, have you, that you're doing?
I'm not, no,
just walking with your log?
This is it, yeah.
All right.
No Instagram, no Facebook.
It's usually a walk with
Like-
a dog.
Yeah, that's
Dog.
true, but hey.
Yeah. Will is walking with a 20 kilo log, pretty heavy log.
28
The door is 3.5 kilometers ahead of you.
28 kilo log for no reason. No Instagram, no Facebook, no social media. I love that sort of character. Will, good on you, man. I just see this grammar school bus. Harrogate Grammar School. There's probably many hundreds of grammar schools in the region if they're still running, but my father went to a grammar school in Yorkshire, not far from Harrogate. I don't know whether it could have been that one. I will need to research. Our route looks a little bit sketchy today, Michelle.
Yeah.
A bit roadside. Apparently this is the Three Peaks Trail. Sadly, I say sadly because the last thing we want to do is 3 peaks, but it looks like we're doing them nonetheless. Where's a rare tiny little spot? You've got a sort of turning thing here, which I think charges the little speech box, and then we've got ash pastures, nature reserve, red start, buzzards, meadow pipit, and some flowers, bird's eye primrose. A little bit of information here, but lovely little enclosure. Look, big deep seat so you can put your backpacks down. Somebody's left some rubbish, as often is the case. Michelle and I are going to have a club
And take our rubbish.
And take our rubbish with us, because we always do. What a lovely little stopping spot. And actually, if we were looking, which we're not, this would be a great camping spot also, because there's some pretty flat grass along here. Shame we're not stopping. Okay, so what we've discovered chatting to a lad just now is there's a peak over there, a peak here, and I think the peak's over there. I don't think it's this one here. So there are 3 peaks here that people come and they walk the 3 peaks. They either do it in one go, which is a mammoth task this time of year, or they do it in sections. So I think that's what was it Will with the log?
Yeah, he was doing 2.
Was doing, carrying his log. So interesting, yeah. It's the guy said he might try and do it all 3 today, but it's 20 something odd miles, I think 27 miles or something like that. It's not easy to do on these short days. It's another few weeks, he said, you would never be able to do it because the days get so short. Michelle and I are already finding it really hard to do anything in the, you know, when the sun starts going down at sort of 5, 6 o'clock in the evening. It's hard, and it doesn't come up that quick either. So these are short days. And talking to the sun, it wouldn't be bad if just occasionally we saw the sun that came up, because the days are cold as well, and we're rarely seeing any sunshine. Michelle and I were just saying, if we'd camped here last night, it'd be funny, people walking past, we say morning, morning. You could be in your pajamas really. Good morning, yeah, lovely day. But unfortunately it's about 1 o'clock in the afternoon and we're going to carry on walking. I said, no doubt when we get to find a place to stop tonight, it'd be in a big puddle in a load of marsh and bog
On a slope.
on a slope with
a
a big tuft under your backside. This would have been lovely. Oh well, onwards. That's what it's all about. I was just saying to Michelle, you know, would we ever enjoy walking to these peaks? There's a paraglider up there. Really. And in our current frame, no. With these packs, it would be horrible. in the summer months with a picnic, we'd quite enjoy walking up these hills, you know, knowing that it wasn't going to get dark till 10:30 at night or so, and having all the time in the world to climb there with no weight. I think perhaps, Michelle, I think we probably would enjoy it.
I think we possibly would, but at the moment, no, it doesn't appeal.
No, when you're considering it today, like with our walking that we're doing, going up a hill, knowing that we'd have to camp up there in the damp and the cold, it just really doesn't appeal in the slightest. Everybody likes their man cave. In France, that would have been a little place where they distilled the wines, or the eau de vie. They would have distilled something in there, and you'd have walked past, your neighbours would have called you in for a little sample, a little aperitif about 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah, happy days, Michelle.
Happy days.
Happy days. Oh, we lived in France, by the way. There's a little train.
Oh yes, a little one.
So yes, that was our life back in the day. Somewhere about 3 to 4 o'clock, one of the farmers would rock up. Well, actually not one of the farmers, it would be Claude, our local neighbour, come up to our little house, little farmhouse, and invite himself in for an apéro. And likewise, on another day, we'd pass his little man cave, and we would be invited in for an apéro. And Claude made some lovely wines, lovely little rosé he used to make, absolutely delicious, and occasionally a little bit of walnut liqueur, which I never did get the recipe for from Claude. It's an interesting little house here, big glass wall on the end, and over here defibrillators. A lot of these towns, they don't have houses with glass walls, but they do have a lot of defibrillators in some of the towns, which seems, I'm not sure why that is, if it's for walkers or for the residents. And another thing that's kind of cool, a lot of these little houses have little post boxes in the wall, and here's a beautiful old telephone box, look. Pretty little hamlet. See a lot of these, I don't film them that often actually, so it's nice just to have a little view as we leave. I'm not sure if it's Hillfoot, don't know the name. Anyway, it's along that little railway track near the 3 peaks. There's a guy in his Mustang BB. So we are entering Horton in Ribersdale. Now I get confused by the names of these towns in Teesdale, in Tynesdale, in Ribersdale. It just adds a dimension, makes it harder to dictate. So we're in Horton, in or on? In Ribersdale. And this is apparently one of the stops, but it looks to have nothing much here again. So we may be on the very outskirts. Always when we arrive in the towns, it says, you know, you've arrived. It always takes us another 20 minutes to get into the town, which is a bit frustrating when you're tired. Well, we've just rocked up to a pretty little town called Settle. Very nice. Quite a big town, actually, bigger than I expected. Lots of places to eat, and two or three fish and chip shops. So we'll check them out. Michelle's just sat by what I think is maybe the town hall. There's a HSBC here. It's a big town, much bigger than I thought it would be. There's a co-op. There's 2 co-ops. I saw one as we came in. such a shame. Look at this beautiful town that we
Continue straight on street.
had such a short visit to Settle because we arrived here so late. And now, look at that absolutely gorgeous building. Settle's a really nice town. I wish we could have spent time. There's lots of places you wish you could spend more time in. But when you're walking like this and you've got an hour and a half max before the sun starts to go down, and we've got to find another place to stop. We are going to stop in a hotel in the next couple of days, but not in Settle, unfortunately. You know, in hindsight, it would have been a good spot, but you never know till you get to a place. Here's our leaving Settle. It's a red hill, as they call it on the maps. A steep climb. It does seem every town we come to is a steep climb when we leave it, Michelle.
Yeah, always.
Very steep. So that's the town of Settle. We knew you very briefly, Settle. Very briefly. And those awful mountains in the background that everyone loves. I love these old Yorkshire houses here. If you look, I think these are little outhouses outside, the ones at the back there. Got to be, haven't they? They're probably not outhouses any longer. They're probably little potting sheds and things, but I bet you they were dunnies originally. Sun is setting. Gives us about an hour to find a camping spot. So the sun is almost gone and we're setting up. The tent is actually, the outer cover is upside down because it's soaked from last night. Just giving it a little blow. I give it a dry with this microfiber towel, and then before I flip it over the right way up, we're just going to see if this wind up here will dry out the surface. So it's a little drier during the night. It'll still be damp in the morning, but it was soaking wet. And Michelle's inside making up home. And then tomorrow we're heading, I think, towards that direction, or maybe this central. It's a lot lower. Hopefully we're not going over that little mountain. It's a lot lower and pretty much downhill. We're heading towards the town of Burnley, which I think is towards Manchester way. So it's a big step for us, and we're hoping we get to Burnley, we'll have a night in a hotel to freshen up, recharge, and we deserve it. So that will be our first hotel in 7 weeks. Had a couple of stops with friends, but our first hotel. Good night, everybody. Hope it's not too windy up here.
Many reasons come to mind not to make the journey, but the reasons you should lie on the journey. When journeys call, don't hesitate. With problems that you self-create, although there's many that come to mind, when journeys start,